Speaking of Germany and Austria, great beer for beer lovers. Great beer. Now, what is that
Yeah.
thing that you drink that's like half whatever, like a Fritz thing?
Well, there's a Radler.
That's it.
Yeah, there's a Radler that's like it's like it would be like a shandy, but it's not disgusting like a shandy.
Capercaillie hunting. Explain the history of it.
But in this call, there's a little section about 3 seconds long where they kind of shake their head and they go deaf and blind in this moment. And in this time, you kind of make a few steps.
Black roe deer hunting in Germany, super unique.
For example, they will shed their antlers in October, November. They also kind of shut down their testosterone. They bring their testicles inside their body, and they go from being a territorial animal to being kind of in bigger groups.
Hey, everybody. We are going at you here. We've got Roger Jørgensen, WTA's European lead consultant here. Just got back with Roger. We were black roe deer hunting in Germany. We're going to touch on that and a bunch of other stuff on Europe hunting here. Just a lot of interest in Europe. It's weird to say because it's probably got the longest hunting tradition. But it seems like for American hunters, it's new, right, Roger?
Yeah, relatively new. I mean, people have been coming here to hunt for a long time, but the amount of offerings we've got out there now, it seems to be very busy, very popular. Certainly keeping me busy. So
sure,
we don't mind that.
So explain to everybody, because we just got done black roe deer hunting in northern Germany, and it kind of started this with Roger went to school there for a little bit, and he had all these fond memories of his hometown, and he got a chance to go back there. Explain what that was like heading back.
Well, it was interesting. I should have never done it because I had the fondest memories of high school, being an exchange student there, and one of the hunters that was with us, I went down with his wife and said, "Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful town," and we went down there. It was rainy, which didn't help, but yeah, it's definitely changed a little bit there in the cities of Germany. But no, it was, I should have left it in the past. But the hunting was awesome because when I was in high school there, we never really left the town or anything. So that was very impressive. We've been sending folks there for a number of years, but to actually, go there and check it out. And as you remember, all those buildings with brick, I didn't know you could do that much with brick. It's a beautiful landscape. So,
yeah. Now explain change. What does change mean? A touch more graffiti, a little bit higher chance of getting shanked in the alley. What does that mean?
Yeah, it was. You could definitely feel it because I was there 14 years ago, and then in 2016 they had kind of that big migration thing. So yeah, there's a lot more kebab shops and Turkish barbers, and a lot more graffiti, and yeah, it's changed. Certainly
Sure.
changed. Nothing like our little valley here in Austria.
Valley. So explain where you're coming at right now, where you work out of and so forth in this fly that is all over your head that we're going to have for the next hour here. Do we name him or are we going to try to kill him? Oh, he got flies. Okay, he's ready. He's ready. Always a hunter.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm down here in southern Austria. We're about 20 minutes from the Italian border, 15 minutes from the Slovenian border, near the town of Fairlock. It's kind of a famous gunmaker village down here. So long hunting traditions, things like this. This is the old home office behind me. And this is where I do all the fun stuff. So it's spent a lot of time in here, and we try to have it kitted up, and yeah, it works. Normally there's a fan going, keep me a little bit cooler, but I don't know the sound guy will be a fan of that. So
oh, we like to see you sweat. All right, let's go. Let's talk Germany. So this is actually the third trip I've had to Europe this year, and it's only July. So obviously spending a lot of time in Europe. But let's talk the most recent one, black roe deer hunting in Germany. Super unique. I think we booked this one like 18 months ago, right? Just to make sure that we had tags to get over there. And
yeah. Yeah, we got it lined up a while back. It takes place up there in northern Germany. What it is actually like a melanistic roe deer, so similar to like black fallow deer. It's a genetic thing where they are black. In this area of Germany, it's kind of a diamond from Hamburg in the north, Hanover in the south, the Elbe River to the east, and Bremen, the area where we hunted, to the west. And in that kind of diamond is the highest density of these black roe deer anywhere in the world. Mostly they're in Europe, right? So anywhere in Europe. So it's quite notorious for it. There's many areas within this diamond. I mean, it's a huge area. It'd that'd have been good to research before, but just thinking in my head, it's probably about the size of 2 counties, maybe in Michigan. So not huge, but big enough, a lot of hunting properties. And with the density of roe deer, there are a lot there. And it's a small percentage of them, maybe 5% or something that are black. And they've been around for a long time. The hunters, kind of late 1700s is when it became kind of recorded and things like that. I think I just saw the fly. Fuck.
Oh, got away.
Got away. But yeah, very, very unique. And what's interesting about them is that even if it's a black mother or father, or a common mother or father, if they're mixed, they may make a black one, they may not. So it's not recessive. What is kind of normal for that melanistic species. So, and then in addition to them being a black, I mean, you have all the cool things about roe deer in general. From behavior wise, they are, you'll see them both in the fields. When we were there, we saw a bunch of them run around together. In fact, you wouldn't connect, but the other gentleman that we were hunting with, he was successful on 2 common roe deer. So, obviously the main focus there is the black roe deer, but there's roe deers on every field. So pretty flat land, very agriculture heavy, lots of small farms, independent farms and stuff like that. And as you know, I mean, it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. The cities in Germany can sometimes leave a little bit to be desired, but on the countryside, it really feels nice. So
yeah, it's got a ton of history there while you're hunting those countrysides as well. And a super unique one. So Germany is really the only spot that you can go to really target a black roe deer. And June's kind of that ideal time to go. It's not a lot going on unless you're hunting Africa and Europe. That's about it. How far in advance for people that are looking to go after one of these should they give you a call?
So we usually try to book about 10 a year, myself and our partner there. And he's operating on many, many different areas. So like around 11,000 hectares. So like 30,000, what was that? 25,000 acres. And it's the landowners kind of, let them know, hey, we've got a nice one. And because it is such a once in a lifetime species, we are trying to target, mature animals, big animals, that type of thing. For sure you could do more, but to try and keep the quality high, we do it like that. But like, for example, yourself, there's nothing wrong with booking, a year and a half in advance. And then sometimes opportunities arise, while you're there, because we're doing that many and it's kind of a smaller outfit, 100 at a time, 200s at a time. The real constriction is the schedule. Mm-hmm. So for example, we always were planned for one. We got lucky and we shot an extra one. The other gentleman there was planned for one. We had some on a trail camera. We were able to go over and harvest that one as well. So the big thing is if we can get you a spot, and then if we're lucky, we'll come across some others while we're there, as well as the normal roe deer.
Yeah. Yeah, so quick rundown on the hunt. Shot one kind of spot and stalk, saw him out of the high seat, which a high seat in Europe is kind of like a deer blind here in the US. Saw him in the morning, kind of fog set in. And when I mean fog set in, you couldn't see about 35 yards in front of you. And that black roe deer instantly bedded down. As soon as the fog lifted, he got up. just walked straight away, so never got a shot. So got taken out of the high seat and then went to the field that looked like he headed towards, and he was there, and we kind of did a cool spot and stalk on him in the morning. And then did more of a traditional high seat hunt that night and had an old buck come out, kind of like roe deer, very similar to deer here, right? So you can get old deer that are just old and heavy, not very long and tall like deer. This guy came out and did a traditional kind of in the field, and they're super regular, I guess you could say, this time of year, and caught that one. So able to take two, which was awesome. But roe deer are just super cool for people that haven't hunted them. Let's just talk roe deer hunting in general. I know you talked about, I've never hunted them in the rut before, but you talked about hunting them in the rut can get super exciting.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's certainly the prime time to do it. The nice thing about roe deer is that they do have a generally pretty long season, and because they're very territorial, things like that. If you want to come for roe deer, we will be successful. But obviously, with every species, there's better times and worse times type of thing. So one of the coolest times is that rut time, which is usually like, if we generalize, because roe deer are everywhere in Europe. So if we kind of generalize, you'd say 15 July to 15 August is a big range, and some of the areas have it a little bit later, cooler climates, a little bit warmer, maybe a little bit earlier, or vice versa. Actually, like the last week of July, beginning of October, or beginning of August is kind of your prime time. They're responding to the call at that time. I actually came prepared.
Oh,
I got one here.
Oh, give it to us. I want to see. Let's give it to us.
It's the girls play with them. They get a kick out of it. But essentially, what this is going to replicate kind of a distress call from a young one, and the mothers, the females will come and respond to that call, and then the boys like to tag along with bad intentions that time of year. Sure. So it's something like, we kind of, when you're hunting, you'll go to a field edge, and you'll call for like 4 or 5 minutes. And if something's not happening immediately, either you're too early or too late. But if it's in the rut time, 5 minutes is usually how long you stay. So it's actually a really fun hunt. You're not just sitting there for 5 hours hoping something comes from miles away. Mm-hmm. You're hunting a really small area, about the size of a football field. And if there's something there, he will kind of come running at you. And sometimes you got to tell him to stop. If you don't want to shoot him, he's not big enough. You got to say, hey, on you get, because they can come up right close. I've had them come to like 3 meters before. They're just really blind with bad intentions. So something like that, you just got to hit a little bit, and they do in that prime time. They will just come running at you. So it's awesome. And I mean, obviously for rifle, you don't need them that close. And I always got a kick out of it, but I've had many archers tell me it was too close when they come into like 5 yards. They know it's too close. Kind of some funny stories with that, I've never heard of that before, too close, but if it can't happen with the roe deer, but they really do come running in, and you could be picky. If it's not big enough, then you kind of just enjoy it, take it in. It's like, you could pull your phone out, and you could, if you're not going to shoot it, you could just film them, and they do their thing. So it's one of the most unique ones in the rut. I mean, I can't think of, I've not done every hunt in the world, but I can't think of any other kind of rut hunt that's as exciting. And the price point on roe deer, you could do it 5 times in 4 days, in 3 days. If that's not happening, if you're not getting that experience 2 or 3 times in an outing, a morning or an evening, then you're not in the perfect time, because you really can get your money's worth. It's really, it's what everybody here loves. I mean, people love whitetail in the US, and roe deer is like our whitetail. Everybody can get a big one. Everybody can afford to go once or twice a year. It's kind of the equalizer, Yeah. You can get lucky, and you can shoot a big roe deer.
And there are lots of great countries over there to hunt them, right? I know Mike does them in Croatia. I mean, we obviously did it in Germany. You said France is another good one.
Yeah, France is cool. France has some cool advantages that some of the other countries don't offer. The For Europeans, it's very uninteresting. Uh, Sometimes even maybe frowned upon, you could say. But for Americans, we kind of think it's cool as a velvet roe deer hunt.
Yeah.
And that because the roe deers are quite interesting, biologically, they're different than any other deer. They've got, for example, they will shed their antlers in October, November. About that time, they also kind of shut down their testosterone. They bring their testicles inside their body, and they go from being a territorial animal to being kind of in bigger groups. So if you're there in November, December, January in Europe, whereas you're driving on a highway, you might see one roe deer here, one roe deer there. That time of year, you could see groups of 20, 30 roe deer type thing.
Wow.
So they come together to kind of go over the winter together, and then in the spring, or after they drop their antlers, they already kind of start growing immediately. So they're in velvet, like kind of a full-fledged velvet, as big as they'll get in February, March. And the one in France, we do a velvet hunt in January and February for guys that want kind of the biggest and the best way to preserve it. Like end of February is pretty cool. And that's one of the coolest looking things, is a roe deer in full velvet. And then in France, obviously we can do bow hunting. We've got a group from the States actually showing up on Monday, 8 bow hunters, and they're gonna get a kick out of that. That's right there at the start of the rut. So
That's the working class bow hunters, right?
Yeah, that's those guys, Kurt and his team. They're coming over and doing like a hosted trip with us. So kind of a cool deal there.
I'm excited to hear how
they drink on their podcast, and I'm drinking Diet Coke, so I'm not sure.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning over here. 9 o'clock in the morning. What do you want me to start drinking a beer at 9? I'll do it. Don't tempt me.
They must film a little later, but yeah, they'll be over here on Monday, and they're gonna do some. Yeah, maybe see an episode, and their podcast will. They said they'll do an episode while they're over here. So, yeah, hopefully it goes good, and hopefully they can hit something.
Now,
and they don't get too close.
Speaking of Germany and Austria, great beer for beer lovers. Great beer. Now, what is that thing that you drink that's like half whatever, like a Fritz thing?
Well, there's a Radler.
That's it.
Yeah, there's a Radler that's like it's like it would be like a shandy, but it's not disgusting like a shandy.
So explain what it is, though.
Same as a shandy, but somehow the shandies in the U.S. taste kind of rancid compared to this. It's just lemonade or like Sprite with a beer. It's called a Radler, which is like it's a biker's juice. So when the bikers go on their tours in Europe, they stop at a guest house and they drink a Radler. But it's pretty good. Although it doesn't give the most girlish figure.
Refreshing.
As you can see, and every time I'm in one of your hunting videos, I look like I'm 500 pounds. So
we go for the side angle every time.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah. For those, you don't let me cut it out. But what can you do?
Roger used to be an athlete back in the day. Now he's a different type of athlete.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So start the first trip of the year to Europe. Got done coaching girls basketball here, and it was like right after that trip to Austria and Slovakia. And this is one that Dad and I both did together and had been looking forward to it for a long time. That's Capercaillie and black grouse. And then we added on the European wild turkey in Slovakia. Probably bird hunting wise, it compares uniqueness like king eiders in Greenland, chucker in the mountains of New Zealand, like that type Himalayan snowcock for me. Like that's how special I would rank the Capercaillie. Did you get it?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
I'm an athlete. I'm a hunting athlete.
Hunting athlete. Not so much on the legs and the feet anymore. Trophy pick? No. Oh.
Yeah. No. He's too big of a caliber, Mark.
Okay. So on Capercaillie hunting, explain the history of it in Austria and being able to hunt it in the spring versus the majority of the countries being able to hunt it in the fall, and just what that means difference wise. And then I'll throw in the tidbits, like I saw just like where we hunted, how they manage these and just how they know specific birds for so long, and how they do their not collaring, how they do their tagging and so forth of that of the birds.
Yeah, on the ankle, yeah, to keep track.
Banding.
Yeah, and it's not every area, but the area we hunted there is kind of one of the top areas. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing, especially in terms of Europe. There's very few places that hunt Capercaillie in the springtime. In fact, Austria is really the only one that's got everything in order with paperwork and licenses and everything like that. And it runs from essentially beginning of May to the end of May. My state where we live, we hunted in the neighbor state. We hunted in Styria. I live in Carinthia. We open on May 10th. So a little bit after kind of the main brunt of the rutting and things. So it's right there in the rut time. As folks will see here soon on your video, they'll see a little bit how it's hunted, but it is one of the only places that you can do it. The European Union kind of has typically it wouldn't be allowed, but there's kind of a cultural, because of the historical and cultural spring hunt that we do here. It's allowed, and it's a very special bird. I mean, there's a few more Capercaillies and shot each year than, it's very similar to how many Alpine Ibex are even hunted. So it's very much a once in a lifetime bird. The areas, how they get the permits is very special. They have to do an exact kind of count of how many they have in order to be able to get one. It's not guaranteed that they have one every year. So very tightly managed. The because we did the black grouse as well, but essentially the Capercaillie is found in kind of the bigger forests right before it goes to what we call in Austria alm, which is like where you get above the tree line and it starts to disperse a little bit. So they're still in kind of these big trees. In Austria, we have beautiful forests. I think Trump even mentioned that back in his first term, that the Austrians have beautiful forests and that we rake the forest. That was that joke was, that was about Austria. So beautiful, and folks will see it in your upcoming video. So, but in that terrain, they have enough room to fly. They're quite big. I'm not a turkey hunter, but for me, they are just off the size of a turkey.
They're touch smaller than a turkey, but you hunt them just like a turkey. Yeah, quite similar. So, in that terrain is kind of there at home, and in Austria we have a lot of mountains, and so this kind of exact elevation where they need for the climate and that style of tree, Austria is perfectly suited. Up in the north, in Scandinavian countries, that similar climate elevation wise is very low. So that's why the Scandinavian countries are very popular, and they do very well there. So with the climate change stuff going on, it is affecting it a little bit, but they're doing quite well. We still have a harsh winters that kill off ticks, which are a big troublesome for a lot of the game birds in Europe. For example, for black grouse, like in Scotland, they have black grouse in Scotland. The problem is there they have these ticks because the winters aren't harsh enough, whereas here we still have those harsh winters. So the populations are very healthy, and when you combine that with the management that they do over here, I think it's a hunt that'll be around for a long time. And the Capercaillie, how we're hunting it, and we'll see a little bit of in your video. Your dad had a much, when I'm describing the hunt, your dad had that exact same experience. I'm not sure, you must have been talking too loud in the stand or something, because they were being shy. We like to joke around in the stand, kind of make a lot of noise just to scare everything off.
Yeah, they were being a little shy for you, but you got it done in the end. So they do a very unique kind of 6-part call, and I'm not even going to attempt it because I will get roasted for attempting it. But it, if you like, you could do it. But essentially, in that call. They're very attentive. I mean, they have to. They're like a big turkey in the forest full of foxes and everything that wants to eat it. So they are very cunning. But in this call, there's a little section about 3 seconds long where they kind of shake their head and they go deaf and blind in this moment. And I'm not going to do that again for you, so you'll have to just rewind. And in this time, you kind of make a few steps. Now you're not starting in the valley floor and just hiking up into the mountain hoping you find something, because they are also territorial, and there's so much pre-scouting done. We do have kind of a general idea of where they're roosting, where their bald spots is, where they're coming down and doing their dance. So typically you'll get within a few hundred meters, and then hopefully you see it, and you can kind of stalk in very slowly, and then all of a sudden it's standing there. I think that in the video, it was very beautiful. How striking they are in that terrain. They're such a beautiful bird, and once in a lifetime thing for any hunter here in Austria, and many will never ever do it. Of my friends here, I maybe know 2 or 3 that have actually done it, and even like professional hunting guides, they also here they haven't shot Capercaillie because it's not the most physical hunt, and once you do it, then that's it. So they just kind of, I mean, I know guys that have been guides for 30, 40 years and they've never done it. They've guided 20, 30, but they've never done it themselves, just because they know that is the kind of the pinnacle of the mountain hunt here.
And extremely, extremely limited on tags for anybody that's looking to do a Capercaillie / black grouse. It's one to do a little bit of planning. And again, you can hunt them in different areas. Like the whole history and culture part about doing it in Austria, which is why Dad and I chose to do it there. Hopefully later on in life, we'll be able to do one in the Scandinavian countries with Stefan and so forth over there also. But like, just that whole history part, and then like you hunt in the morning, and then you have a big breakfast with everybody in the area and celebrate, and then kind of go and take a nap, and then you do the whole thing again in the afternoon. Again, the whole experience was just awesome from the beginning to the end, except for you picking us up in the van. Other than that, it was fine.
Yeah. That's always rough doing that.
Yeah. So on this one,
that flies right in the front of my hat. Oh,
it's gone. So on this one,
I'm a good driver, Mark. I'm a good driver.
I spent a lot of time in the van with Roger, which is nice. It makes getting from spot to spot easy. So when we planned this trip, we were originally Capercaillie, black grouse, kind of added on, just because the timing of the season worked. We added on the European wild turkey down with Tomas in Slovakia, so that all worked. And it really worked because we had weather coming in, so we were able to do the Capercaillie, and then we had nasty rain happening in Austria, so we hopped in the van with Roger, drove down Slovakia. Beautiful part about Europe is you can drive most places not in a long distance. I think it was 3.5, 4 hours we were there. We were able to do the turkey hunt, and then we went back to Austria to do the black grouse. So I guess before we talk about the black grouse, European wild turkey, they're kind of two different, I could call it strains. One's like super black. I'd almost consider it like an Osceola, and then the other one has more color over there. But again, not much hunting pressure. If you think about here in the U.S., like, man, after that first weekend of turkey hunting, they're pretty well, they know the game, right? Over there, they don't get a ton of hunting pressure. So it was kind of like a spot and stalk again. I think that culture of calling that we have here isn't really over there. So you hunt them different. But again, that was all part of the fun for me of being able to travel all over the places, is experiencing the hunting, how they do it in that location. Of course, it was raining, made spot and stalk a little bit easier, but still a great time, great tradition.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing that they've had that project going on in that area for about 50 years. So when we were in the lodge, they've got there's photos from way back in the day when they kind of started hunting them there. And because it's all private area, private land, and they're only doing a few hunters a year, it kind of keeps it pretty quiet. It did seem like it was maybe the tail. It was the tail end of it, just because of the dates. But I halfway expected you guys to bring calls, but I just assumed you would.
That was my fault.
I'm gonna have to
100% my fault.
I'm gonna have to go back there next spring and try it again with the call, because I'm sure that could be very exciting because they are not used to that. We kind of have blinds and things like that, and but yeah, kind of a unique one. Unfortunately, I think the wet weather kind of sabotaged your photo efforts. Typically, they're prettier than that. You can check out other photos on the website. But yeah, I mean, the turkeys.
A wet turkey looks like a wet turkey.
Wet turkey. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And kind of what they are for the species, nobody really knows. They're not turkey nuts like there are in the States, So it's they've been here for a long time. The Spanish brought them back when they first went to the U.S., so they've been here for a very long time. There's even turkeys in Croatia. There's some in Czech Republic. There's a few different places, and these, they are wild birds. So the areas do keep track of, manage the foxes and jackals and things like that that they're taking care of, but yeah, certainly a destination type thing. I mean, it's a unique one. And I would say your World Turkey Slam's not complete unless you come over here. So
that is true. That is true. So outside of the species in North America, you've got New Zealand that has a wild turkey, and you also have Europe that has a wild turkey. So that one was the last one for me. That was it.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you for setting it up. So if you're looking for Capercaillie, something to combine though, like it's a super easy add-on to do that all at the same time. And the driving distance is, 4 hours, right?
Well, it's nothing. And I mean, we did the Mouflon while we were there too. So
yeah, well, part of us did the Mouflon.
Oh yeah. Because Earl and I had the time of our lives.
Sure. So it was raining. We were both successful on the turkey in the morning, which left an afternoon. I chose to be an adult about the situation and go out mouflon hunting, which super early, right? They're all grouped together, but still had a great time. Took a great ram. Roger, this is the key part of the conversation. Took my dad to a World War II museum, which Dad's a World War nut, so it worked out. Explain this though.
Thomas told me about it. It's a good friend of the outfitters there, and it's a totally private collection, but it's the most. And I'm really into the history stuff as well, and I've been to a lot of museums over the 12 years of being over here, sightseeing and stuff. But this was one of a kind. I mean, it's not state sponsored, like it's not supported by any government or anything. It's just an entire private collection in a massive barn, and it was totally incredible. And the kicker was that in every room that we went to, the gentleman had apple brandy, and he insisted on us drinking it before we went to the next stop.
How many rooms?
There's a lot of rooms. I had to stop at 7 schnapps because somebody had to get us home. Your father, he didn't have to get us home, so he enjoyed himself. I think we cut him off at 18. And I texted you halfway through. I said, "Is your dad ever? You've ever seen your dad drinking or drunk?" No, not in 20 years. All right, get ready. We'll be there.
Oh, that was this was me out in the rain, mouflon hunting. I get that WhatsApp message, and turns out, yeah, Dad. I mean, it was a short night for Dad. It was a short night, all in a World War II museum. But the museum's cool because it's all self-collected, like stuff that he dug out of local fields. Filled this.
Yeah, and a lot of it is from a local battle. It was unbelievable. It was totally unbelievable, and he wouldn't let us pay him an entry fee, and he wouldn't let us reimburse him for the drinks. So that is what you call a passion project.
Sure. But like that's all part of hunting in Europe too. Like you stay in castles. Most of the time you stay in a castle or a chalet, or especially in Slovakia. Roger, known fact about castles in Slovakia. Drop it right now.
It's like the highest per capita for castles or density of castles or something with castles. There's a lot of them. And I won't make a quote that can be fact checked, but there is something like that.
So every time I'm over there, I hear this from Roger, and now he buckles under the pressure. The one time I have him say it.
No. It's castles per capita, but I think that sounds silly. but that might be because there's not a lot of people and there's a lot of castles. It's a small country, and you could see castles from everywhere you look. Yeah, I can't remember the lie that I told you, so I can't remember it.
Oh, yeah, that's what happens when you turn live. You kind of mix them up, and then you don't know what you said. Anyway, there are lots of castles.
If it's per capita or density, I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, when you hunt in Europe, the whole thing's unique, right? If you think about the history of Europe compared to the U.S., longer history, you get to do stuff like that. The World War II Museum was just, I mean, to be speaking, it sounded like it was better than any museum that Dad has ever gone to, and this is just a self collection, the whole experience.
Yeah.
If you talk about the whole trip, we were there a week, right? We were hunting Capercaillie, we did black grouse up in the mountains, we did the wild turkey in Slovakia, and all Dad talks about is this World War II museum. He said it was the best part of any trip he's ever gone on.
Yeah, that was kind of offensive, to be honest, but it was fun.
It was. So anyway, that kind of wrapped up Slovakia. Then we were able to drive back. The rain had passed, and Austria able to drive back. And then the black grouse hunt, obviously up higher, right? Because we hiked up into the mountains, stayed at a hunter's cabin that night. Local gamekeeper, I mean, had them dialed. Next morning, and this is when I got to see the cool dance. We were up in kind of like this blind with a cover in front, and all the black grouse right at first light just all kept flying in this field. And then I got to see the dance and the fight and all that stuff, which was extremely cool. My first time seeing a black grouse up front and holding it. Awesome bird, unique experience. But again, like on that, one of the best parts was staying the night up in the hunter's cabin, right? Like hearing the local hunters' stories and sharing a beer and maybe a glass of wine or two up there and just enjoying the experience.
Oh yeah. No, that's what makes it fun over here is that most of these areas have an old cabin with a lot of stories, and it's pretty cool. And we tried to scare you on the hike, but I guess you said it wasn't hard enough, so you'll have to come back and we'll have to make you climb further.
So I hunt the Middle East a lot, and every time people that have hunted the Middle East, we get to always enjoy this, right? So you try to set everything up, and you're like, how far is the drive? They're 4 hours. Okay. Well, in my head, I know 4 hours could be 12 or it could be 2 days. I mean, that's what 4 hours is. How is the hike going to be? 4 hours. Okay, I know 4 hour hike. Minimum 8 to 10, most likely 12 to 14. We're staying somewhere halfway. So when Roger tells me, I'm like, how far is the hike? Just so you compare, right? Well, it's a couple hours. Okay, probably a 4 hour hike. That's how I do my math. And it turned out the hike was like 30 minutes. It was super easy. Like all of a sudden, we hiked up and we were there, and I'm like, wow, okay. One of the reverse strategy from everybody else.
Yeah, I got it. I can't explain the whole thing. Otherwise, you don't need to come and do it if I explain it too well.
That's
I gotta
true.
leave some fun in there for the guys.
That's true. So other countries that you can black grouse hunt in the fall. What are some other countries?
That would be the Scandinavian countries, and that's a very popular one. From kind of September, October away. More upland style. So coming into this kind of bogs and things and looking across, oftentimes shooting at a longer distance. The black grouse in Austria, that can sometimes be like a blind, or it can also be sometimes spot and stock, or sometimes it can be further. I think your dad shot it on it must have been, I think it's 60 or 70 type thing. I haven't seen yours, but sometimes you set up that blind and they're kind of dancing right there, so it can be a shorter distance. Up in Scandinavian countries, sometimes you can really reach out. You're stable. They know you're there, but they just assume all wrongly that 200 yards is maybe safe enough. But so it's a different style. You can use dogs as well. They'll do that for the Capercaillie, and that's where you'll see these cool photos of guys with skis and stuff. So that's also a cool one, and it's also higher volume. For example, Austria, one area might have one tag every 2 years. Up there, we have some of these trips where it's I kind of artificially make a control. Like, for example, you can go to Finland. The Finland offer, I think I say 2 Capercaillies and 8 black grouse. But that's kind of artificially imposed just so that you relax and don't get too carried away. They're not
get a little excited.
They're not. doves or something in South America. So, and then in Sweden we have kind of a collector's hunt that we do. So ptarmigan, hazel grouse, Capercaillie black grouse, kind of a grouse hunt. And I say one each, and then usually when you show up, you'll shoot a few extras at no charge type thing, which is kind of
that one in Sweden is one I want to do.
Yeah, that one will be cool. And to combine the grouse hunting with that kind of collector's hunt that we do for all the sea ducks as well would be awesome one. So, although that's a too far of a drive for me, so I'll have to get you a driver up there.
You can make it. You just got to take off earlier.
Yeah.
All right. So last trip, just got back from Croatia. This is my third time hunting Croatia. Third time on the island. Dugi, Otok, main one going after the Capercaillie Ibex. Finally connected. Awesome Billy on this trip. Also able to take a feral goat. Now I've got one more trip to come back to. I've got a podcast coming up with Mike also in Croatia, so make sure to tune into that one. That's going to be coming. We're going to talk everything Croatia and much more, but a little teaser. They've got a new species on the island. It's actually a hybrid. It's a Dalmatian Mouflon hybrid that they just got all the scientific data on. This is one that they didn't mean to make. Mother Nature does its course, right? So the Dalmatian and Mouflons have bred, and now they've got a different species. So able to see pictures and so forth of that one. And then I'm going to go back, hunt the axis deer there also. I always like to say one of the limited areas that you can hunt free range axis deer in Europe, but it may be the only area that you can. Is there another area you can hunt free range axis?
We're pretty sure it's the only one. But I don't know of any other one.
That's why I always
don't know
say
everything.
I like to say
I don't know. Nobody's told me anything else, and I like to know stuff. So
that's why I always say one of the only areas, because I'm not 100% sure it's the only area, but I'm 99.78% sure it's the only area that you can hunt free range axis deer in Europe.
Yeah.
Why I'm going back there, but I love hunting Croatia. Super easy to get to, super easy to get your gun into. It's probably the easiest spot to clear a gun ever. And then travel in the country. It's a small country, not many people again, very hunter friendly. And the hunting's great. The other one I want to go back there in the fall and do the mountain stag hunting. We kind of did the stag at the big government concession. And if you guys haven't seen that, we're going to click a link right in here. That stag came roaring. Marco had that thing in my lap. It was like 26 yards away roaring. One of the best experiences in the morning is that fog lifted and got down and moved on that thing. We're going to click that in here. Show that. That's actually, awesome. Able to take a giant Eurasian brown bear there. Just the hunting in Croatia is awesome. I don't want to spend that much time there because we're going to do a podcast with Mike coming up on it, but that was my third trip to Europe this year, all before July. 3 awesome trips. Roger set them all up. I don't like to give him too much credit, but he did set all these ones up.
No, you definitely keep me grounded.
You got to keep them grounded because otherwise they get big egos and big heads, and you just can't have that. Otherwise it's too much to handle. I do want to go back to Austria. One of the hunts that I've done in the past is Alpine Ibex, and it's one of those unique things. As you mentioned, a Capercaillie tags are about the same as Alpine Ibex, and the Alpine Ibex species has to be probably the most limited tags that there are of an Ibex species. Correct? If not, it's got to be.
Yeah, I would say that. There's always for all the Asian ibexes, there's always spots. The sated ibex or the Bezora ibex is quite rare as well, but there's still, good ones. There's few, but there's many shot that a lot of people would be happy with. But the Alpine Ibex certainly is. We're biased, obviously, living here, but for us, it's kind of the king of the ibex. And when you think of ibex, it's very easy to Google ibex, and Alpine Ibex is typically what pops up. Now, a lot of that has to do with where they're located, right? We can go up hiking. We could take a gondola here and go up to the national park, and we always bring our binos with when we hike with the girls, and we'll set up and take photos of everything, and so there's a lot of photos of them. People are very familiar with them. In some areas, they're not too weary of humans, which is, typical goats and typical when they're not being hunted that much. I mean, some areas, I've got this for, we have 5 coming up. The first one's going to be here in a few weeks, going back up to Tyrol. And, for example, that area gets 1 permit every 2 years, unless the count is positive, then maybe they'll get it back to back sometimes. If the count is negative due to avalanches, things like that, scabies, things like that, then it will be less. So it's not one that you can count on. It's quite a rare thing. And me being over here, I think that's a big advantage, that I'm not just representing one area. We can jump around to different areas, because in Austria, the areas aren't that big. There's so many valleys and mountains and stuff that the borders are made up like kind of, ridge lines and things like that. And so if it's one area, then if on your fixed date, and many American hunters do have kind of a fixed schedule, well, hey, sorry, he went over the hill, so no ibex for you. And so a few of that, one of the outfitters that we work with them for a very long time, who you hunted with this spring. So Tony and his team, they have many different areas. Not working here, we can jump here, that type of thing. And then I do have some areas, single areas that I get a call and call the gentleman who's booked the hunt. Okay, looks good. Can you fly next week? That type of thing. So in that way, it's kind of an exciting thing. It's the terrain itself is every bit as extreme as Asia. You just have a little bit more infrastructure, and a little bit more creature comforts than some of the stuff you end up doing over there in Asia.
A lot of tents and rocks in Asia. So like when I did my Alpine Ibex, we hiked up and stayed in a hiker's cabin. And this was super unique because they had a gondola that would actually bring all the supplies up. So and they had a restaurant and a bar up there. And I mean, wasn't roughing it. It was a steep hike.
No,
feet were burning. Definitely not roughing it. Nice to come back to the hunter's cabin. Also, if you look behind Roger's right shoulder right now, you're going to see a marmot. On that hunt is where I shot my marmot at. It was super jacked. The only person I know that's more excited about
wasn't as big as that though.
Just take it easy. It was the only one I've ever done. I don't live over there. Roger, big marmot hunter over there. He's looking for that marmot slam if he can get it.
I saw the professional hunter of the area where you hunted. I saw him last week at the Holzstrassenkirchtag, which is like the woodworkers festival.
Okay.
Where they do the lumberjack competitions and stuff. And I ran into him. He had his big old Gamsbard. And I told him we just got back from Germany, so he got a kick out of that. He did still remember you, and he didn't have anything bad to say. So you must have been Roger, on your best behavior.
I'm hard to forget. So Austria, what else besides Alpine Ibex? Obviously Alpine Chamois. I do want to get back and stag hunt. Okay, real quick before I'm going off on a tangent here though. For American hunters coming to Europe, hit on the 2 big ones that I think people come over for: roe deer and stag hunting. Right? Compare the stag hunting to elk hunting, because that's what naturally comes into my mind. On just the price points of how they compare now, because we're getting a lot of people. I mean, elk prices, it's no secret, right, are going up in the U.S. It doesn't matter on the state, and the draws are harder. That's one you've got to get in the draws at WTA. Get yourself into the best areas, and it's not something you're going to draw every year, but you got to get in there just so you can start building those points, because it's not getting easier, it's getting tougher. That's why you got to get entered. But just explain the roe deer hunting and the stag hunting, the seasons, the different countries you recommend, and so forth.
Yeah, so the easiest way to compare them is like a roe deer would be your whitetail, and a red stag would be your elk, and those similarities are, okay, roe deer, whitetail, they're everywhere. They're mostly everywhere for the most part in Europe and in most part in North America. You can hunt them spot and stock. If it's more open terrain, you hunt them from a stand. Obviously, big biological differences, but yeah, it's very similar. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can more or less be successful, and they're in your backyard. They're also 1,000 miles away. They look the same. So,
Mm-hmm.
that in Europe we don't really differentiate roe deer. There's actually only two technical subspecies of the roe deer. There's the Siberian roe deer, out over. Oh, there you go. Out over this side of the Ural Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Then this would be kind of considered the Siberian roe deer. Um, and then we have the Western roe deer is what it's called. So in that way, it's different. I think you'd offend some people in the U.S. if you said an Alabama whitetail is the same as Saskatchewan whitetail.
Sure.
They might take some offense, but obviously with roe deer as well, there are some differences. There are areas that produce larger trophies. The colder countries produce stronger
Mm-hmm.
heavier bodies to go over the winter. They've got it's much more green, so they get bigger, and they also need to get bigger. In the southern places, the winter's not going to be that bad, so I don't have to get stuffed. So the bodies. So in that way, it is very similar to the whitetail, maybe even in the States. And then you've got red stag, which is obviously easy to compare to elk. The most popular time to hunt them is in the rut time. It's when you could be the most successful, get the biggest one. I will say that for me, the red stag rut is much more impressive than an elk's bugle, because they call it the red stag roar, and it really is a roar.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been on YouTube or Facebook, I'm sure you've seen funny videos of like the European calling championships.
Uh-huh.
It's hilarious, but that's really what they sound like. And if you can imagine that you're in the mountains and you're sitting on the stand and it just becomes light and that thing lets rip right behind you, you will shit your pants. And I think the elk is maybe not like that. If you get excited, maybe, but it's not like, holy crap, that was loud. It really is different in that way. And obviously in Asia, we do have, we have wapiti. So that would be like a elk hunt. That's also, other side of the Urals. But the red stag hunting, they aren't everywhere in Europe. They're in a lot of places in Europe. You can hunt them in the lowlands. You can hunt them up in the mountains. There's areas that are notorious for being big.
Uh-huh.
There's areas that are smaller. In with some of the conservation organizations, and SCI, they do classify them differently. You've got like Scottish red stag, you've got England red stag, you've got a Norwegian red stag, and then you have Iberian red stag, and then you just have red stag. So it's kind of a confusing classification because there's nothing the same like on the French-Spain border. If you hunt a red stag in France, it's considered a central like European red stag, but it'll be kind of much smaller than if you shouted out on like the Pannonian Plains of Hungary, where they're massive, where you can you can get like high 300s in free range, or where you hunted, for example. This is a famous area right on the Danube plain there, whether on the Croatian side or the Serbian side, and that's right where Hungary meets. So these are big
size,
big elk, and so. It's neat. It's one of those ones that you can hunt them all differently. You could do spot and stalk up in the mountains. Our friend Pedro has some awesome videos of the mountain hunting in Spain with horseback, things like that. You could be really an adventure hunt. You also can kind of roll out of the castle and hunt in the morning, and then come back and relax, or go to the World War II Museum, and go back in the evening and go back and hunt the evening. And so both of those are obviously the most popular game species in Europe, and you can very much think of them like a whitetail and an elk. The only thing you can't do is compare them on the price. I know whitetail hunts at my dad's outfit down in Alabama that we send folks to each year. We have like a flat rate, and it's kind of in that 6 to 7 range. Whereas a roe deer hunt, you could come over to Slovakia, Croatia, France, Serbia, even Macedonia. And if you said, I have a budget of $4,000, you would be shooting, maybe in some areas you'd be shooting 5, some areas you'd be shooting 3. So you're getting a lot more trigger time. And if you do that package in the rut, then you're getting like the most exciting experience each time. So the Roe Deer are super good value. The black Roe Deer, that's naturally a little bit more expensive, the scarcity of it, and that really is a once in a lifetime thing. You have there we are about, it's 5,000, 6,000 for trophy fee, which if you think of something that unique, it's really not that bad. Obviously, for that much money, you'd want maybe a bigger trophy, but it's not my fault you shot a small one.
And shoot small one, shot a big one, and then
shot a big one. With the Roe Deer, what I say with Roe Deer, and it applies for all animals, but in Europe, if they say they want a big Roe Deer, I say then you have to shoot 2, because then one will be bigger than the other. Sure. That's the joke there. But it is true. I mean, you see some here, but I mean, a Roe Deer is kind of that 6 points. I don't know how you'd compare it to like whitetail score, but like if it's like 120 to 140, then you're happy with that, and you can go down to the guest house and that you'd be happy to shoot that. If you're shooting like a 160, 180. It is possible, but you probably aren't doing that kind of in your area. Those are kind of more special areas, that type of thing. But it's all doable, super affordable. And then the red stag hunting is also very affordable, to be honest, for what you're getting. For the price of like a DIY elk hunt in the Western states, we can come and have a fully guided hunt in an area that looks like the Western states. Fully guided, meals, lodging, airport transfer, everything picked up, including the trophy fee for a nice red stag. If you thought of like SCI, maybe like 300, 320. So I had something that if you were in the public hunting for elk, you definitely would shoot it, because there's a guy over there who will. So something that you would harvest if it was an elk. And you can do that between $5,000 and $8,000. And in Europe, if you're not successful, then we're sending you money back for the trophy fee that you didn't get. But because of that, you will be successful, because nobody likes to send money back. So the goal is to shoot your first animal, and it's almost a little bit like Africa, not as prolific as Africa, but hey, once we get this down, we have this, that, and that to hunt. Yeah. And you can kind of add on extras, that type of thing. So those are awesome. And like I said, from the geography, there's many places that look just like the U.S. Like where we hunted in Slovakia. I mean, this for me, I've never been to Kentucky, so it's not right, but it feels like it would be like Kentucky or something like that. I don't know. Any place in Europe looks like somewhere in the States.
Germany looked like Wisconsin, where we were hunting black roe deer at. You could have just woke up on a different day and thought you were in Wisconsin. Like that's what I thought when those areas that we're hunting the fields and so forth.
Yeah. And that's kind of the cool thing of Europe is that I mean, well, for example, like the Croatia, you just drive a little bit and you're in
different area.
Croatia has like California coastline. It's got like New Mexican mountains. It also has like Montana mountains, and it also has like Kansas ag land.
Yeah.
Within 3 hours driving.
It's crazy.
Like it's astonishing how quickly the environment changes. Where I live, if I drive an hour and a half, I'm on the beach in Croatia. I keep my t-shirt on, but it's everything is right here. It really is a special place, and that's as an Alaskan kid, it really makes it hard to leave. Like I really want to go home, but it's really special over here, and the hunting is awesome.
Real quick, touch on stag hunting prices. Say Slovakia with Tomas, or anything like that, or Croatia.
So Slovakia, 5,800 all inclusive, metal class stag guaranteed, from pickup in Budapest to drop off. Croatia, we do a out of rut package, 5,500 all inclusive, no limit, or 7,500 in the smack dab middle of the rut in these beautiful mountains. Then you've got, obviously, if you want huge stuff, you also can do that in free range. If you said like 15,000, you would be looking at like FCI 400,
which is huge. Like a
you can get
three.
You can get big.
Elk. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get big. The red stag are more stubby than the elk. You don't have these long tines and things like that. So there's oftentimes a lot more going on. I don't have the 15,000 euros. Otherwise, I'd have one hanging up. But here in Austria, in some of the mountains, we have more typical stags. They can sometimes look like elk because they grow a little bit longer. They with the trees and whatnot, they're really dark. They have really dark antlers. And those would be like 320, 330 would be like a very nice one for the high mountains. And then you get a little bit lower, they'll get bigger. But yeah, that's kind of a good idea on pricing. Like
on either of those, either the ones you mentioned, Croatia or Slovakia. So compare that to a bull elk hunt here in the States. Like you're looking at on the extremely low end. This isn't drawing a tag. This is if you book with a landowner tag or something like that, like on the 10,000 plus travel to get there. So like these are below that. To get there and have a great hunting experience. I think that's why we're getting a lot of traffic going to Europe just for that price point. Is I can go with a group of guys, go over there and hunt stags for that week. For me, like I had something I want to talk, like to travel to Europe. Like I drive to Detroit and then usually it's a direct flight to go to Vienna or anywhere from Detroit. And then transfer over. So it's usually one connection over. You fly overnight and you're there the next day. You usually hunt the next afternoon. So it's super easy. Same thing as if you're trying to go to the West Coast here. I take off and that day I'm burning to get there and then I hunt the next day. So travel isn't that bad. Some of the European countries are easy to get guns into. Croatia's easy. Austria isn't too bad. It's a lot easier than what you would expect for it be in Europe. I put it that way. Now, with that caveat, there are some that are tricky. Germany used guns there because getting a gun into Germany is tricky. Some of them are, but then like France, on the other hand, like you would think France is tricky to get a gun into. It's super easy. Super easy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's surprisingly easy. Spain, which is like the most popular place, is probably the hardest. Just because they require like contact with consulate and stuff like that. But people bring their guns to South Africa and do similar steps. So all that's very easy. And then, rental gun is I'm a big fan of the rental gun because nothing can ruin your trip like having luggage issues and having luggage issues with the rifle. I would not want to go through that. And so I'm a huge fan of the rental guns. And I always joke, with folks, well, if you miss, then you have an excuse. Oh, it wasn't my gun, that type of thing. You bring your own gun, there's no excuses, buddy. One shot, you only get one bullet each critter. So but the quality of the rental guns here is fantastic. Used a nice Steyr Mannlicher up in Germany just now.
No way I could roll that off the tongue.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a cool program. And then like with the price, it is cheaper, and the guarantee that it's never guaranteed, but if you don't get something, then the trophy fee's not due. So that is something unique. I know we go hunting for the experience and things like that, and many people will say, oh, it's not about the trophy or if I get anything. That is true, but there's hiking trips, there's other things that don't have trophies. It is nice to get what you're after, to get your quarry. You can always shoot another one the next year. So you don't have to be consistently skunked. And that's what's really cool about Europe is that, people are successful, even if they come for this and it's not working, there's, hey, what about this? And we can move things around and really customize stuff. And it's not as crazy as South Africa where, I went down there for true critters and now I got to remortgage the house because I accidentally shot 20 animals, that type of thing.
Don't even know how it happened.
Yeah, here it's like, I came for that guy. Oh, came for that guy and I got that guy type thing. That's manageable, and that's not going to set you back too much. And no, it really is an advantage that Europe has, and it certainly keeps me busy. And we've seen it grow and grow, even with everything going on in the world. It's still a very safe place over here. So
yeah, it's one since we've added Roger to the team. How many? 3 years now?
yeah, I'm 22, summer of 22.
Yeah, so this is almost the third full year. For me personally, ever since Roger's come to the team, I mean, I've traveled to Europe probably more than any other spots in the last 3 years, just because Roger's opened so many of these hunting locations up and made accessible and so forth. Last fall, I had an awesome trip to Finland. Did the forest reindeer. Let's real quick on forest reindeer, like super limited tags in Finland, and you think reindeer, right? Reindeer or caribou, vast open spots. Finland, no, they're in the trees. So if we go back, we'll throw a picture in here. If you go back and look at the antlers, super tight and tall versus a normal caribou or reindeer that kind of lays out big because they don't have trees. This one's super tight because they do. Another one I'm looking forward to going on is the reindeer hunt in Norway. So explain the difference between Norway and Finland on just how those hunts take place and so forth.
Yeah, that like you said, the forest reindeer quite limited. The gun proficiency test, it's quite a technical hunt to go up there and do it. Not many people have done it. And a lot of people consider, maybe reindeer's a reindeer. And so if they are to come, and many people don't even know that there are reindeer in Europe. Greenland is more well known. Iceland is also relatively unknown with their draw system they do. But yeah, in Finland you have these forest reindeer. For me, they're very impressive. They're a little bit snugger, not as wide, but each one is an individual. They can be different. But really a lot going on. I mean, the one you shot, that was awesome. That was totally awesome.
Super awesome.
And so, that's a really cool hunt. You're hunting, it's more level area. You've got these big fields, and maybe a link to the video, you could check it out. It's it would be almost like how we hunt roe deer. Like covering the ground and stuff. So they would hunt roe deer the same way as that type of thing. The Norway one, in contrast, is every bit a Alaskan caribou hunt, a Canada caribou hunt, with the caveat that the infrastructure here is different, right? So some of the best areas, you actually stay in a hotel and you hike out into the area during the day. If you want, you can stay in a tent. You can do a few different things. I'm a fan of not making it intentionally more miserable. It's not miserable, but to make it hard on yourself. You worked your whole life. You can stay in a hotel. I know you like to stay. I know you don't mind to stay in a tent, but hey, the hotel's not bad. You have to admit. That's why I came over here to Europe, is because I said at 18, coming from Alaska, that's enough time in the tents. I don't mind to stay in something a little bit more spoily, but yeah, that Norway reindeer, there's some areas, and the best areas are in decent enough driving distance from good lodging, but big country, high tundra, similar like northern Alaska, like the hunt with Striker, maybe, for example. Similar terrain to that, a little bit more hilly, I'd argue. But big open country. Once you get the caribou down, you would maybe call up the horses to bring them off the mountain. So some of those traditional touches as well. Pretty cool. There's also some areas that are much more rugged. Because of it, the demand for the tags is a little less, so they're slightly cheaper. For example, those are in like $8,000, $9,000. The higher end areas are going to be 12 to 14,000. So almost half the price. And that's like a true wilderness backpack style hunt. That would be, Pedro's got a cool video a few years ago. He went up there with the outfitter we use, and did that wilderness hunt. So staying in tents, doing all that stuff. And for a guy from the East Coast to fly from, Chicago, New York, he flies to Copenhagen, he flies to Oslo, We pick him up in Oslo. The next day, he's hiking his butt up into the mountains. Contrast that to flying the opposite way. You got to fly to Alaska. Okay, you lose the day. You got to stay there overnight. Then you got to collect your tags. And then maybe the next day you'll fly with the small plane out. You can't hunt the same day. You'll hunt the next day. So Saturday to Sunday, you could do a true wilderness backpack style hunt in northern Sweden or in central Sweden up in the mountains for cheaper than you would do one in Alaska or Canada. It's the trophies. They're not as impressive on the average, but as I say to guys that I'm sending up there, if you saw the one that you will shoot in Norway, if you saw that when you were in Alaska, maybe 50% of you would say it's day one, which is not how I think, but 50% of you would say, oh, it's day one. I can do better. Mm-hmm. Come day two, day three, once you've been sleeping out there with mosquitoes and enjoying the sun and you would definitely absolutely shoot it. So they're good quality. They're good quality trophies. That super high trophy scale. Okay, then we need to go back to Alaska or Canada. But it is a different species. It should be treated and judged that way as well. It's a different experience. But yeah, that's a cool one. And yeah, if you want, I can cancel the hotel reservation and get you a tent.
Oh, it's always an option. I agree with not making it than it has to be, because I've got enough hardwoods to go on that make up for staying in a hotel every once in a while. Now, as we end here, I always refer to you as the European consultant. You do more than just Europe for anybody that's listening. If you talk to Roger, he does book in Asia. He does book in the US. He books all over the place. So if you've got any questions, give him a call, not just Europe, but all over. Just had a client get back from Mongolia, shot a absolute huge hang guy. Turned out the next morning, we were filming one of the sweepstakes giveaway here, literally the day after he got back, and pulled his name out, and he won the mountain goat hunt for 2 in BC. So he's bringing his brother along to that. Again, check out the sweepstakes.
And his brother also he was also with him and shot a big hang guy argali.
Oh, he did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was the funny part, because that was, I was telling you when we were there in Germany. Yeah, they're both going on it. So they both shot a beautiful hang guy. We're back. He got the call to go again this fall. And in my head, I was thinking, oh, damn, he has a busy fall. He doesn't have time to go to the goat hunt.
Oh, he's going to make it work.
Yeah, that's what's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, on the sweepstakes, make sure to get entered into them, because here's the thing. We've got the bonus buck system going on. What the bonus buck system is at WTA, any dollar that you spend into the sweepstakes, you get a bonus buck at WTA. So what you can then use that for over the next 12 months, you can use it towards a trip booking or tag service application, so you don't lose that dollar. Nobody else, none of the other people that do the sweepstakes or drives or whatever they call them, have anything like this, right? That's their sweepstakes and their drives are their main focus of their business. That's how they do it. That's not us. We set up the sweepstakes as a way to raise funds for the Guardian Foundation. A lot of projects that we do around the world. It's also a way to give our clients a chance to win some hunts that they normally wouldn't be able to go on. And that's what we've had. We've had some awesome people enter and win a moose hunt. And people that have dreamed about going on a moose hunt their whole life finally get a chance through the sweepstakes program. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to check out the bonus buck system. Also check out the Guardian Fund. And if you guys got any questions on hunting Europe or anything, make sure to give Roger a call. One thing I will say about Roger, he's a talker. So if you're going to give him a call and you only got 5 minutes, you're going to want 10 to 15. Well, you don't wave your head at like that. You talk for hours on end if you get the guy in the van.
That's what I'm driving. I got to stay awake.
Stay awake. Midday, you should be awake. Also,
I can talk to you or I can serenade you, Mark. So let me know what you'd prefer next time.
What's your favorite go-to drink as you're driving the van?
Red Bull. Sugar-free Red Bull.
Sugar-free Red Bull. Sugar-free Red Bull. What do you normally have in the lip as you're going to?
Siberia, 15 grams.
Just
that is not a paid endorsement.
Living on the caffeine, this guy is. Straight to the vein. Caffeine.
That's the nicotine. That's my new weight loss plan. It's not totally working yet, but I do have much of an appetite.
Are you in the beach bod phase? You ready for the beach?
No. I'm a t-shirt in the water kind of guy, which is in contrast to my high school days where I was a t-shirt in the under the basketball jersey kind of guy.
Old school.
I missed that.
Big baggy.
I missed that phase. Yeah, I was too scrawny in high school, so I wore a t-shirt under the jersey. And now I'm too big in the grown-up world, and I wear a t-shirt in the pool.
Completely missed the middle phase, the prime.
I don't know where it went.
Prime's gone.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for your time today, Roger.
Yeah. Well, see you guys.